All right, so it's a little tight, but here is our C4S Coupe. So we'll just kind of go through and look at some pros and cons. Obviously, kind of packed in here tonight, but I'm gonna do a quick, kind of a quick overview on the car, nitpicking any flaws that we can find. So, paint has a nice shine to it. Same gentleman has owned it for roughly the last 5 years. There's PPF on the front quarter of the car. So there's the paint protective film begins here and it follows all the way to the other side over there, which means essentially that there's no real rock chips on the front clip. At least there are Mars in the PPF. There's lots of smaller ones when you kind of get down on it and look at all the, there's several little things here. It doesn't appear that any of them have broken through the PPF. So I would assume if somebody does want to remove that panel of PPF and have it reapplied, it would be, roughly $500-600 to get that done. And the paintwork underneath should be pretty strong. At least it appears that way. But the PPF has, clearly been on here for some time. You can kind of see that there's a spot right down here where it's, kind of coming off here. You can see where it's seamed right there. There's some other little Mars right there. This portion right here is not covered in PPF, so that's would still remain if somebody were to pull the PPF off of there. But generally I would say that it's actually in really quite strong condition rock chip wise on the front clip here for the miles that are on it. But I would probably leave it at this point. But if somebody is seeking perfection, then you'd want to have that that panel of PPF removed and then reapplied, or just removed and not reapplied, and sure, it probably looks decent underneath there. Same kind of story on the mirror here though. You can see like some flaws that are within the PPF itself. And obviously, the mirror's PPF can be pulled also. Wheels are in great shape. It's got a set of Michelin tires on it, dated from 2024. So strong tread life left on the tires. Rotors are great. They've been replaced. The fronts have been replaced pretty recently. There's no discernible lip on there. Pad life should be.
I found this on the web.
Oops, my watch is going nuts. But pad life should be good as well, because my client said that he had them replaced pretty recently. On the rears, there's a very slight lip on the rotor in the back. There's no vibrations coming through the wheel or anything, so all that feels fine. Date code from 2023, tires back here as well. Tread life is very good. On this rear quarter, you can see that there's, kind of a smattering of rock chips, not necessarily inconsistent with the mileage that is on the car. You can see like a little spot right here, which almost seems to be like pushed out right there. Not totally sure what that's from. Right here, there's a chip. So I'd say it's roughly half the size of a pencil eraser in person. Looking back here, taillights are in good condition. Also, Michelin's date code from 2023 back here. Same kind of level of rock chipping, going on. These, shark fins is, if you will, these are, maybe a little past their prime, but not too crazy. I've certainly seen worse. You can kind of see there's several little, that's tar, I think, but a lot of that's tar actually, but there's a mar right there. This kind of stuff appears to be tar to me. So it could stand to have, a decontamination job done on it, where some of that, I think a lot of that stuff will almost all that stuff should come off of there with a good decontamination detail. There's a chip right here on the mirror, so that's not coming back without touch-up paint. Moving to the inside, my client who owned this car is not a smoker. There's no foreign or weird smells inside. There's a little bit of wear on the driver's side bolster. Thigh bolster is great. There's some wear down here, which is also quite common. 76,840 miles on it as of today. Everything works inside. Alcantara headliner. Obviously you get the 4S logo right there. But yeah, overall, nice condition. This car was just a toy for the most previous owner. Driver's door handle is getting a little loose. Super common on these things. Passenger side door is real tight. Not as tight on this side. Cup holders are functional. That's another common 997 issue. But these function exactly the way they're supposed to. They hold in place like they're supposed to. And the little door works. Everything with the audio system sounds great. No issues there. Overall, super nice car. Welcoming all pre-purchase inspections. Overall, it's a very nice C4S. There's one thing I missed. I know there's a ding. Yeah, there's a ding. There's a little slight, you'll be able to see it in the, right there. Just a very slight dimple right there. That's the only flaw that I'm seeing on the front bumper here. Yeah, great car.